when he opens his mouth, Ty, what happens?
What happens?
The rooster escapes.
Oh.
Was that not obvious?
Oh, yeah, duh.
That was your intro? That was like, hey, if you don't got one, I got a sweet intro. I got a really good one. Do you want me to do mine?
I want you to come in with me. I want to do the Arrested Development thing where they're all acting like chickens.
What's the other one?
I don't know. They all chachi chachi chachi.
Chachi, chachi. Oh, Arrested Development.
Yeah,
Such a good show.
They're freaking dancing. The whole family does. It's so funny.
Oh, listeners, welcome. Cuddle up. We got a big one for you today. You've been waiting for this.
Absolutely.
I know you have.
This was a 70-minute schlogfest. It's what everybody wanted.
Yeah, this is only, what? Yeah, like you said, 70 minutes. An hour, 12 minutes, and here we go.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
I hope we can double our podcast time over it. There's so much to dive into with this one.
2 hours and 24 minutes. So I will say that this was one of the longest 70-minute movies I've ever seen. There was a point in time where I was getting very sleepy.
Do you remember when?
Yeah, it was about like where they were in the city, and there's just hijinks going on when they were trying to get the Rock-A-Doodle guy back to the farm, and they were getting chased by toads and foxes.
Yeah, I get a
and
little
stuff.
sleepy too.
And our badgers. I don't even know what the one bad agent guy was. And I was just like, what the heck is happening here right now? And I was just like, it's too much for me. I'm too tired.
I'm going to disassociate.
We planted a garden, everyone. We tilled an entire garden area. And I'm not talking about like, oh, cute little garden. Yeah, like a 4x8 piece of land. No, I'm talking about we upturned the earth.
We hoed. Tilled.
Probably, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out numbers here. 20 feet wide by 40 feet long.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
It sounds a bit bigger than it is, but
close.
Let's go with
it's closer to that than not.
Plus or minus 5 feet.
Yeah, plus or minus 5. And so, I mean, we're talking about a lot of land.
We planted pumpkins.
Squash.
We planted
melons.
Melons, watermelons.
We planted little cutie pumpkins.
Little cutie pumpkins.
What are they called? Little jackos? Or something like that? Little
Jack B. Little,
Jack
I believe
B. Little.
was the name on the package.
Yeah.
Jack B. Little
Bunch
pumpkins.
of Jack B. Littles. Those are those little tiny ones.
We are going to plant some sunflowers soon. But yeah, poppies and zinnias. It's
all over the place.
This is our first time like planting from scratch, isn't it? We've always kind of planted things that were already existing. But now it's like, this is like from seed.
Yeah, for sure.
So who knows how this is going to go.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
I think it's going to go great.
I think we set it up for success.
I do too.
But we'll find out. Listeners, welcome back this week. As you can tell on the title of this track, what is this? What is Rock-A-Doodle? Has anyone ever heard of this? Cartoon, I'll just put that out there. This is a cartoon. So if that helps, some of you 90s babies think back to this time. Again, like this is a wild cartoon that I have seen so many times. So many times.
See, I felt like I thought I never had seen this movie.
Yeah.
And then there are certain characters that popped for me. I was like, oh, this owl that looks like Dracula. Yeah, I think I know this character. And then he's got like a little sidekick, his nephew, who's like this little bird with this little
pygmy.
With this little air pilot hat on. I was like, I know this character. And so I knew certain characters from the movie. And I was like, oh, I think I actually have seen this movie. But it was so forgettable that I had forgotten it. It had been lost to time. Like Homeward Bound 2. I do not remember it.
Oh, is that where they go to San Francisco?
Yeah, and I saw it in the theaters, and then I loved Homeward Bound 1 with all my heart. And I never watched
does.
I never watched Homeward Bound 2 ever again.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah.
That's fine. There's nothing crazy about what you just said. That is not a hot take, Ty.
Okay, I'm glad.
That is a pretty typical take,
Yeah.
I would say.
I didn't hurt a bunch of people's feelings?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And you're not going to hurt my feelings with this, although, boy, did I have this still memorized somewhere in my
Rach
brain.
knew the songs. She was singing all the songs.
The songs are easy to know because a song just like, it's like one synapse away and it's all there. But, man, my brain is holding on to this. For some reason, it said, we can't let this go yet. Not yet.
We need something to do with this still. Like, we're going to be on a trivia
it's
or
not
like.
time. Don't flush this out yet. I'm so glad I waited because I now created the time for me to flush it out. After this, I feel like I can let it go. Unless you think this will be something that we'll show annually to our kids. Do you think we'll show this
we're not
going to
show this ever to our kids. I don't want them to ever have to see this.
Why never?
Because it's not good. I have so many fun things to show them. I'm not showing them this. I'll show them their never-ending story before this.
Life is too short to waste your time.
Okay, let me ask you that question. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Would you show your kids Never-Ending Story or Rock-A-Doodle?
Rock-A-Doodle.
Really?
Yeah.
It would for sure be Never-Ending Story to me.
It comes down, it's nostalgia for both of us.
Yeah, you're right. Because they're both bad movies.
They're both terrible. But, I mean, let's let our kids decide what is worse.
That's a good idea. Let them decide.
So this came out in 1991.
Yep.
We were the fresh age of 4.
Yep. You're
So,
rocking 4-year-olds.
Probably not seeing it just yet. A little too young for that.
Yeah,
but.
I probably saw it like a year later when it was on VHS. Mm-hmm. Probably rented it with All Dogs Go to Heaven.
I think all the world saw this on VHS, along with All Dogs Go to Heaven. We'll get to that. Save it. I know you want to get into those. Pause. Pause for the cause.
Okay.
Ty, give the audience, if you would, please, a synopsis of what is Rock-A-Doodle.
So Rock-A-Doodle, imagine this. The sun comes up, and you got this cocky little rooster with gigantic pectorals who's running around being like, "Yeah, son, welcome to the farm. We're gonna have a good time today." And he's singing around, he's running around, but he sounds more like "Hey, son, we're gonna have a good time today."
It literally pains me because you don't know the words and you don't know the song, and I have it, but you're just.
No, this is my synopsis.
I know,
time.
it's your synopsis.
This is my time down here.
How do you remember?
It's your time up there. It's my time down here. And so he's singing these songs to the sun. He gets attacked by this random ass crow or something, and then he gets injured, and he can't crow. He can't cluck or whatever he does call to raise the sun, and the sun raises without him, and then everybody's like, "He's a big fat phony. What a phony.
You're a phony."
And so this guy gets expelled pretty much to the city, becomes this huge Elvis-like star. Meanwhile, on the farm, perennial darkness. And owls waiting for lights to go out so they can murder everything. And they're not shy about it either. They're not like, "We're going to put you in prison and work camps and we're going to make you work for the owls," or anything like that. They're like, "We're literally going to murder you when that flashlight goes off." The stakes are high. And I don't even know why. They don't seem hungry or anything. And they're all kind of plump and fat anyway.
Well-fed.
Yeah, I think they're fine. But that's just what they want to do.
They're starving.
They're excited to eat everybody.
Poor owls.
And I know. And the thing is, I have a different perception of owls than you do. We've talked about this throughout our entire marriage, where Rach sees owls as bad guys. And I always see owls as very cute and cool. And I think part of the reason is Ocarina of Time in 6th grade comes out. Or 5th grade, and in Legend of Zelda, that old N64 game, the owl is like your advisor. He's like there to help guide you. And in fact, even in older Zelda games, there's that thing. So an owl to me has always been like, he's your trusted sidekick who will tell you where to go next.
And I think we've just uncovered where my fear of owls comes from.
It comes from this one?
It comes from this one.
They're not even that scary, though.
This one, Secret of Nim, that's also owl-based as far as the villain. The only positive owl I had modeled for me was the Winnie the Pooh owl. And even he wasn't even around that often.
Yeah, it's true. But what about when Harry Potter came out?
That reworked some things for me. I had to rework some previous misconceptions about owls. That changed it. But it wasn't really until then. They were always kind of bad guys and kind of creepy to me.
See, and I grew up in a world with Trolls 2 where I thought trolls were like a good thing. I'm like, yeah, they turn you into green goo and they eat you, but they're kind of funny and weird and goofy. But then Harry Potter came out, and I was like, oh, no, trolls are bad.
Will you specify what Trolls 2 is?
Trolls 2 is one of the best movies ever created. It's
Clarify
a
for
horror
the
movie
audience.
where the trolls aren't trolls at all.
There
They're
we
actually goblins. And they turn you into green goo and they eat you.
Yeah, not to be confused with DreamWorks Trolls.
And if you know, F that trolls. They can get lost. So, no, this trolls is the famous quote. I'm trying to do it justice without popping the mic.
Mm-hmm.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh, my God. Literal line delivery. Rach, find the clip. Play it for the crew.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh, my God.
So anyways, back to this plot. So he's in the
back.
city. He's an Elvis impersonator.
Mm-hmm.
He's just killing it. He's the king. And the farm is in darkness. But meanwhile, we have this weird-ass interdimensional storyline that's going on. We have a live boy who gets sucked into this world, turned into the ugliest kitten I've ever seen. He's got a receding hairline, and he's got clown hair. And, like, it comes out on the sides. It's bonkers. He's so ugly. And he's running around with these farm animals trying to get the king back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they eventually do, and they save the farmland.
Mm.
So, yeah, there it is.
Well, you really simplified that for people.
Did I?
I think so.
Even with the trolls detour? You think things went okay?
I think that still is simpler than what happened.
Yeah? Okay, well, good.
So some taglines for this bad boy. The rousing, rollicking adventure of the world's first rockin' rooster.
No, I get the alliteration, but it wasn't rousing. It wasn't rollicking.
That's a lot to read too on the cover,
Especially for this
a
age
kid.
group. It should just be like, "Hey kids, like chickens, you should check this one out." Like we need simple tags for this one.
All right, what about this one?
Uh-huh.
Get ready for 1992's animation sensation.
Okay. I mean, I don't like it, but it's better than the last
I
one.
like that they dated it. Oh, they said 1992. That's interesting because I have 1991.
I think it is 92 because it said 92 on Amazon as well.
I don't know why I have 91. Oh, maybe I do. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
And then the last one. A film the whole family can crow about.
Ooh, yeah. Play on the bird things. More bird.
Play on the bird things.
more bird idioms would be excellent, I think. That's what we need.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So I think I want to talk about the actual story of Rock-A-Doodle first and its origins before I dive into the world of Don Bluth. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we have like a whole Don Bluth section. I don't know. Have we had a Don Bluth before?
I don't know who Don Bluth is.
Yes, you do.
No,
This'll
I don't.
be exciting.
I know who the Bluth family was in Arrested Development.
Again.
But that's it.
All right, Ty. What if I told you that this is actually based on an ancient story?
Whoa, okay.
What would you say to me?
It's supposed to be the Odyssey?
No.
Okay,
no,
not that ancient?
You don't know this. No, I mean, Middle Ages.
Oh, Middle Ages.
A
Okay,
fable,
not Greek, though.
This is based on a fable from the Middle Ages called Chanticleer and the Fox.
Oh, that's the whole Chanticleer thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Say what you mean.
So his name, the rooster's name is Chanticleer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the hell is Chanticleer? I said that to Rach.
That is a weird
I was
name.
like, what the hell is Chanticleer? What kind of name is that? And she's like, you just wait. I've got that intel for you later.
The story is similar to Aesop's fable, The Fox and the Crow. Ty, are you familiar with the story, The Fox and the Crow?
No idea.
How about The Rooster and the Fox? Do you know that story?
No, I don't know any
You don't know
of these.
any stories.
The
You know
only-
nothing about the Middle Ages.
Okay, here's what I know. I know one of my best buddies, Jeff.
Mhm.
He wrote a collection of stories when we were kids.
Mhm.
And it was the main character in his story was called the Sly Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And it was real good. That's the only Fox story I really know.
Fox is also getting negative characterization.
Which we did see a fox kill a chicken just like 6 months ago.
We did. That's
we did.
true.
You watched
That's
it
its
happen.
own story.
You looked into his eyes as he cracked the chicken's neck.
It was
It was
pretty
wild.
jarring.
But I missed the whole thing. But I tend to think that foxes are like good creatures because I have fox and a hound. They become friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have this perception that foxes are actually pretty cool.
I agree. I'm on Team Fox.
Okay.
I am. But back to the story, the fable that this originates from. So here's how the story goes. This fox convinces this rooster that it has a beautiful voice. And the fox says, yep, I knew your dad. He had a beautiful voice too.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just like stretch your neck out and just like crow beautifully like you do, that would be great. So the rooster, taken with this vanity, stretches his neck out to crow and snap, the fox grabs his neck and runs away with him. Now, here's where the plot thickens.
Okay.
As they're running away, they start to be chased by the hound and the owner, and maybe some other farm animals are coming after them.
Mm-hmm.
The rooster tells the fox, you know what? You should turn around and tell those guys off. Like, tell them to get lost. You're this far ahead. You've got time. Why don't you tell them off?
Okay.
The fox, being the fox, is like, yeah, that's a good idea. So he opens his mouth to talk back to the hound or whoever's chasing him to say, like, yeah, right, you can't catch me. Well, when he opens his mouth, Ty, what happens?
What happens?
The rooster escapes.
Oh.
Was that not obvious?
Oh, yeah, duh.
So the story is all about, well, Ty, why don't you tell me, what do you think the moral of that story is?
I don't understand how this relates to the movie.
That's what this was based off of.
Yeah, but do you think that plot like goes along with this movie?
No, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
This is the Middle Ages story. I gotta tell you the next version of it.
I know. I'm trying to make connections already. My synapses are firing right now, and I'm just like, how do we get to the movie though?
No, just focus now on Chanticleer and the fox.
I mean, he got outwitted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about being gullible and being prideful.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story. Now, we do have a fox in this story.
Is that a fox who is his agent?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had no idea. At first I thought it was maybe a fox, but it was so fat. I was like, no, I think it's like a badger or something.
No fox could ever be that fat.
No, I thought like, or maybe it's a raccoon. I lost the fox thing a little ways in. I was like, it's not a fox.
So the fox's name in the fable is Regnard. I believe it's French.
Regnard?
Maybe.
I know this fox.
Do you know the cycle, the Regnard cycle?
Is it Rinaud?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not really, but I know of it.
Okay. What do you know? You don't know any more of it?
I mean, I just know it's a series of fox stories.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
He's a famous fox.
It is a famous fox from Tales. So, and this is the tale of it and Chanticleer.
Okay.
The rooster. So, again, that's the original concept.
Does Renaud, do you know, does he always get, is it always about like what an idiot he is? Because I felt like he was like almost like this thing that sometimes gets celebrated. I almost feel like he's kind of a hero sometimes.
I think that could be true.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's not like
I haven't read all of Aesop's fables.
Here's 15 tales about how this fox is an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think
I couldn't tell you that. And so this concept was actually pitched to Disney in 1961. Some sort of a concept about this theme of like this fox and this rooster outsmarting each other, and then this cycle, this pride cycle coming around, kind of giving into vanity and not. At that point, they went with Sword in the Stone instead. They said, we're going to pass on your little fox story.
Well, Sword in the Stone is really cool.
I thought it was really good. But anyways, there's also a 1910 comedy this is also basically loosely based on. And that's about a rooster who's convinced that the sun won't come up without him. So there's kind of like a combo of that story mixed with like this fox and this rooster together.
Sure.
So this is, it's steeped in lore. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. And at the same time, it feels like the writers took like a good, maybe 5 days to pump this baby out. Like, I don't think there was a ton of like really creative things that were happening in this. And there were moments in while I was watching it that I was like, oh, did they just take, like, there was the one little quick story that Elvis told one time, and they're like, yeah, let's make a rooster film about that. I don't know.
Yeah, the Elvis theme is kind of just like this overlay on top of this classic story. A classic story.
That everybody knows. The story of Chanticleer.
Yeah. People have been wanting to make a movie about this for decades.
If I went to an elementary school today and I just said, hey, kids, all of you, K through 5, all of you are standing here in front of me. There's 300 kids I'm looking at. I said, raise your hand if you know the story of Chanticleer. Do you think anybody raises their hand?
But what about the millennial teachers who watch this movie?
Okay.
Would we raise our hands?
I think you would only get 2 teachers to raise their hand.
I think that's probably fair.
And then if I include staff,
high.
I'll give it another 2. So I'll say 4 people total. There'll be like a custodian, a dean of students, and then 2 teachers. Otherwise, that's the only people who know what Chanticleer is. If I said, do you know who Renaud the Fox is? No hands.
Zero hands.
No hands.
Well, it took more than 5 weeks, so they started pre-production for this.
No, I said 5 days.
5 days. Sorry, excuse me. 5 days.
Don't misunderstand. 5 weeks is crazy.
They started pre-production for this in 1982.
And it released in 92? It took 10 years to pump this thing out?
Let's talk about what happens.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got our man, Don Bluth.
Okay.
Now, Don Bluth actually gets his start. I'm going to back it up even further than 1982. He gets his start as an animator at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So he left in 1979. Before he left, he worked on Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
He worked on Robin Hood. He
Mhm.
worked on The Rescuers and Pete's Dragon.
Okay.
What's your favorite out of all those?
Well, I grew up loving Pete's Dragon.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. And, but listen, what was after Sleeping Beauty?
After Sleeping Beauty, Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. Robin Hood's my favorite out of those ones.
Is
I
it?
was like, it's whatever was right after Sleeping Beauty is
Mhm.
my favorite. Yeah, Robin Hood I thought was awesome.
Mhm.
How he does the arrow competition where the arrow flies all over the place and then finally hits the target.
Mhm.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love it when he's kissing on the lion, Prince John, King John, and he steals all the jewels out of his hand when he's dressed up like a gal.
Yep.
Love that scene. Yeah, there's just so many classic moments.
Yeah. And you know me. I love Robin Hood.
I-
First crush ever was
Rach-
animated fox. So
Rach
I love foxes.
had stirrings to Robin Hood. So just throw that out there. This was a coming of age movie of sorts for her.
I had some feelings I needed to work through. But it's around this time that he begins to kind of feel disenchanted with Disney because they're doing some cost-saving measures, and he also feels like the stories at this time are starting to lack some heart.
Okay.
So at this point, he decides, you know what? I'm going to throw a coup. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to take 11 of my best animator buddies with me, and we're going to go start a different production company. We're going to start the Sullivan Bluth Studios.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of that?
What do I think of that?
What does anyone think of that?
I mean, I think, okay, good luck to you. I'll be honest with you, Disney's not going to skip a beat. So, like,
I mean, they took 11 of their guys. That's like, it was like 20% of their crew. They had to
but
start over in some ways.
sure. And then what did that start over lead to? In the early 90s, the most amazing movies you've ever seen in your entire life.
Did you know that that has a name for that?
What?
That section that you've just described as far as the time period for Disney?
Little Mermaid
Yeah.
through Lion King?
Even past that, all the way up to Tarzan.
No, I disagree.
Well, you can
To
disagree.
me, it's Lion King is the
but
cap.
the world.
Because Hunchback doesn't belong in the group.
Oh, it sure does.
No, it doesn't. Not to me. Not to me, it doesn't. Hunchback doesn't belong. I know everybody's going to be like, what are you talking about? No Hunchback. No Tarzan. Get that out of here. There's a lot of films. Hercules? Yes, you join the club. We skip a few. We bring in Hercules.
So let me tell you, that section of time
Mhm.
that you're referring to actually has a name. It's called Disney's Renaissance. And it starts with all of the movies that were made in between Little Mermaid
Yeah.
all the way up through Tarzan. So
And
that's,
Tarzan's what, 99? Something like that?
Yeah.
Probably the end of the
Couldn't
90s.
say, but yes, that does include things like Hunchback of Notre Dame, Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast,
Mhm.
Rescuers Down Under. The second Rescuers
People
is in that.
So my buddy Mike,
Mm-hmm.
who I grew up with, loved Rescuers
Yeah?
Down Under. I swear we watched that movie like 50,000 times. I was like, we're going to watch Rescuers Down Under again?
Mm-hmm.
That and Home Alone, constant at his house.
So in interviews, Don Bluth kind of credits himself a little bit for being a thorn in Disney's side. It's like, when I left
Mhm.
to make movies that I felt had more heart, Disney had to figure some things out, and it had to step it up a little bit.
Okay.
He talked about how, an oyster makes a pearl because of a single grain of sand that irritates it. He's like, I'm not the oyster.
I didn't know that's why that happens.
Yeah.
So the oyster is irritated by the sand
I don't know. This was his example. I
and then
can't
makes
get
the
into that.
pearl?
Yeah, the sand, like a grain of sand gets
It's
in
like,
the oyster and it makes
I
a
hate
pearl.
this. I'm gonna shoot mucus that's gonna turn into a pearl all over that sand, or like what's? It's like I'm gonna poop on it. Like what's going on?
I don't know that the sand becomes a part of the pearl. Maybe it does, but it creates a pearl based on that irritation.
Okay.
So the pearl was the Disney Renaissance. The oyster is Disney, and the little grain of sand is Don Bluth.
Okay. Well, he's giving himself a lot of credit. I'll
He
be
does
honest
give
with you.
himself a lot of credit.
Because I think that, I mean, I'm sure that they're like, oh no, this sucks. But at the same time, I bet they're kind of over it after about a year.
Mm-hmm. So if I talk about Don Bluth, do you know? You said you weren't familiar with him. Do you want me to go through some Don Bluthisms?
Sure. Like, what do you mean by movies?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've talked about this one before. Maybe last week we talked about The Secret of Nim.
Okay.
That was one of his first ones. That actually did pretty darn well.
Yep.
In 1982, it got like a 93%.
Okay. On Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep. It didn't do great in the theaters, but the VHS take home, boom, boom, Bob's your uncle.
I feel like I've seen it, but I don't really remember anything about that one.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Disney passed on the idea because it was too dark.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's kind of Bluth going off and doing his own thing, thinking like, I wanna get a little edgy with these cartoons.
But what about Black Cauldron?
What about Black Cauldron?
That was dark, and everybody hates it from Disney.
Yeah, that was like the nail in the end of the coffin. Like, hey, we got to figure out what we're doing because what we're doing right now, this is garbage.
Was that Bluth, though?
No. Nope.
He had already left?
He had already left.
Oh, so they did try to go dark.
Yeah.
Disney was like, oh, we know what to do.
They went dark, but like no heart. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, compare that to Little Mermaid. It's like it's not even in the same
Little Mermaid
atmosphere.
doesn't have any heart.
Where's the heart?
Oh, speaking of first crushes. And then Jasmine became the ultimate crush.
Yeah.
Top 5 still.
Do you think they just got better when they started drawing female characters better? Is that what the key to this Disney Renaissance
No,
was?
the key is Alan Menken and the music.
Oh, the music.
For sure it's Alan Menken. Alan Menken deserves just as much power as the story, as the animation. Alan Menken's music created a revolution.
I think you're right. I think people don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
It kind of kickstarts that at least, or at least the emphasis on like this music is very important. Similar like it was in the like days of like the 1930s through early 60s. That was also very important. But then like we get like this decade or two that's just like meh, throwaway.
Robin Hood?
It's not to me, but from a big standpoint, if you're looking at all of like Disney's catalog, like yeah, it's meh compared to
So says you.
So says a lot of people.
So says you.
You mentioned this just a little bit ago when we first started. All Dogs Go to Heaven.
All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dark.
It is. It's some like heavy material.
There's some weird shit going on in that movie.
Similar drawing styles to this, would you say?
Yeah. I would.
I say that in the sense of
I haven't thought about it until right now, but yeah.
Their characters are really crazy looking. Think about all the Dogs Go to Heavens. All the dogs are kind of goofy in that one. Same with like this one. All the animals are kind of weird looking.
Yep.
Yeah, they definitely like went a little extreme on their characters. I feel like less like cute and fluffy and more like this character's got some personality.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Other ones, and tell me if you've seen these ones or not. Have you seen A Troll in Central Park?
No, don't know what that is.
Don't see it. It's terrible. But saw it a lot. What about The Pebble and the Penguin?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know if I've ever seen it.
I think it's on our DVD stand as we speak.
Oh, okay. So you had it.
I think I have it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I have it.
Well, good for you. That sounds like
Might
a
have been
great
like
watch.
A combo pack with Pagemaster.
Oh,
I
saw Pagemaster. Was that his too?
I don't know, actually. I didn't look.
Okay.
Could be. The art seems pretty similar.
Yeah, it does. And also the reality to animation like jump that
I'm not going to say yes because I don't want to
get
get tweeted at, but yeah, possibly.
You get tweeted at still,
I get tweeted at.
Yeah, you get added a lot. People are like, hey, Mrs. R. Hudson, you suck.
Have you seen Thumbelina?
No. Yes. I have. When I was younger, hated it because I said it was a girl movie. Couldn't tell you if it was actually good or not. I was just like, I'm going to play with Batman toys.
That one's really crazy
and
as well.
That's all I know. And it was playing one day at the gym.
Oh, what?
One of our old gyms back up in the cities. I was working out and I was watching Thumbelina while I was working out. And I was like, and it had subtitles going. I was like, what the hell is going on in this movie?
What is
This is crazy.
His big ones I've been saving for last. These are ones that he collaborated with Steven Spielberg on.
Okay.
An American Tail.
Yes. Oh, now we're talking. I loved American Tail.
That was maybe a couple of grains of sand in the oyster side, American Tail. And then also right after that, Land Before Time.
Oh my gosh. He's the Land Before Time guy?
Yep.
Did Disney acquire all those, or are those all not Disney?
They weren't Disney. Disney may have acquired them now, but they were originally directed by Don Bluth.
All right, so I'm not seeing any Bluth stuff with Pagemaster, by the way. So
good.
I think you can.
So glad I didn't go
I think
there.
you can let go of that and know that you're okay. James Horner did the music for that, though. That's kind of crazy.
But Bluth takes a break after a while, and then his last big finale, Anastasia.
Yeah, and we have differences of opinions on Anastasia in this house.
Well, I don't want to hear it. Based on your tone,
No,
I don't want
I'm
to
gonna
hear
give it to you.
what you have to say.
What I do, Rach and I just recently.
I'd rather not.
So there's this time where Rach was talking about something, and I was like, I don't really care about this. And she stopped talking, and she was like, I can't believe you. And then I started talking about something, and she's trying to do the same thing back to me. She's like, hey, by the way, I'm not really listening. I don't really care about this. And I just kept talking, and she's like, I can't believe that's how you reacted to that. I was like, yeah, that's the difference between you and me. I just have to say it. I'm gonna steamroll through it. This isn't for you. This is for me. And so the Anastasia movie, you love it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got great music.
See, and I watched it later too. I didn't watch it as a kid. I watched it in high school.
Meg Ryan's a voice.
I know, and
I don't know anyone else, but yeah.
I watched it in the choir room. You know, it was one of those.
Well, there's your problem right there. You watched it in the choir room?
I guess what else I watched in the choir room? Walk to Remember. Walked away. I walked and I remembered. I loved it. But then I watched Hoosiers in the band room. I've watched a lot of great flicks in music rooms. But yeah, Anastasia, not a fan.
Not a fan.
Didn't really like it.
All right, well.
But I'm not you're like love that family and love that story. And like, I like learning about Rasputin and World War I in general. But I don't have any like love for that whole family.
The Romanov dynasty?
Yeah, the Romanovs.
It doesn't fascinate you at all by what happened to them?
because they were terrible leaders. They're awful.
Do you think they all deserve to be killed?
Well, I think that the government had to change. They were a mess. They were like the worst ruling dynasty in the world at that time. So they deserved to fall from power.
Well, no one's saying
guess
that.
What? When you fall from power, you're probably going to die.
Probably.
At this time?
Gonna die.
You're probably going to die.
That's just how we solved things back then. But that's a little flavor of who Don Bluth is. Oh, I got to tell you one more thing that he did.
Yeah.
1983, he created a video game.
93?
1983.
83.
Let me back it up.
Oh.
1983.
Is it well known?
I think it is. I don't know it, but I bet you know it.
Okay, say it.
I wanted you to guess.
Oh, well, I mean, 83. It could be like a billion games. I don't know. You can create Frogger. You can create Centipede.
It's more medieval in its theme.
Not Legend of Zelda. Is that Shigeru Miyamoto?
Nope.
Medieval in its theme.
Uh-huh. It's got like a knight.
Oh, is it something Dragons and Goblins or it's not Dungeons and Dragons, but it has a name like that. It's like
Dragon's Lair.
Oh, Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
I played that game. I have it for Super NES.
I knew you knew it.
So that game's interesting in that it's like story driven and like with cinematics and stuff. And so there's like light platforming, but then there's like all these little cinematics that are overlaid throughout the whole thing. And it was like a box arcade game.
Oh, cool. So
yeah,
I probably would like it.
It was very unique for the time. People were really fascinated by it.
Yeah, well, that's Don Bluth all over it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he did a good job.
He did a good job. What?
Okay. American Tail.
Yep.
Versus Fievel Goes West.
I think American Tail is better, but I probably have seen Fievel Goes West more.
Same. And as a kid, I like Going West better. But I didn't really remember American Tail that well. Only I feel like it's just like very, very cool story and like how they mimic the story of the Jews and stuff like that. Like,
I need to rewatch it now that I'm an adult and I know what the heck is going on.
Yeah, because as a kid you don't understand that. You're just like, oh, these mice got to get out of here. They got to find a home.
I didn't know he was Jewish.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a Russian Jew. I had no idea.
Well, when he went west, that wasn't as much of a factor because he's just a cowboy.
Now he's just a part of the Great Migration West.
Yep, he did a great job.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that with like fresh adult eyes. I remember it being really like beautiful though.
Yeah, I do too.
As far as how it was animated.
I remember
and shot.
thinking the animation was really cool in those movies.
Mm-hmm. So let's fast forward. Now that you know a little bit about the man, the myth, the legend, Don Bluth. So 1982, he wants to start pre-production on this, but instead they release A Secret of Nim first.
Okay.
They go with that, which ends up being a pretty big, I don't know, I wouldn't say hit per se, box office wise, but it legitimizes them.
Sure.
Now it's like Disney's like, ooh, look out. They actually made something. I think it was like worth or up for an Academy Award that year.
Oh, gotcha.
Along with whatever else Disney pumped out. So it's like, oh, we've got some competition coming here. What are they going to do next? 1985, we get into development limbo. We kind of forget about it for a while. 1988, a crazy film comes out similar to these vibes. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, yeah.
Now, he didn't make Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but the idea of having animation at the same time as live action is now kind of like revive the project a bit, because what does this have in common with that, Ty?
This has in common. Sorry, I was trying to look up some Oscar information around this about the animated films. Can you say the question again?
So for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, what does this have in common with
a mixture
Rock-A-Doodle?
of real life and animation, and only this like goes into like from one world to the other, almost more like Toon World or whatever that Brad Pitt movie is.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
But, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is like this perfect amalgamation of like of the two worlds, which I guess Toon World kind of is too, because Brad Pitt doesn't become a cartoon except for like in small spots.
Did we podcast about Toon World?
No,
we just watched that.
I didn't watch it. You watched it, you psychopath.
Watched it?
You were like, oh, what's Toon World with Brad Pitt and what's her name from Wayne's World 2?
I watched it by myself.
I gotta watch this. Yeah, you watched that movie all by yourself. I got home from rehearsal. You're like, I watched Toon World tonight, and I have a lot of weird feelings about it. I was
I
like,
have some questions.
I watched that movie quite a few times as a kid and remember quite a bit about it. So let's get into it.
Listeners, I'm sorry we didn't
It was
give
probably
you the chance to listen to
pre-Summers
that.
Off. I bet it was when we were up in the cities.
Think so?
Yeah.
That long ago?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
It was wild. That's all I can say. Wild, wild sauce. Maybe worth a rewatch someday. Probably not, though.
Yeah. Like there's people who want to have sex with cartoon characters in that movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
There's
the
like the
whole
guy
thing.
who makes the gal. He
Yeah.
makes her to then like have her come somewhat to life and then have sex with his cartoon character.
Ah, that's so weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, let's talk about some casting
Okay.
for some voices.
I didn't know anybody besides Mandar from Dexter's Laboratory.
You did. You got that one right away. So we
well,
have
he's
this.
such a distinct voice. Yeah, so we gotta go over here. What's going on here? He's way too much.
Garbage. Ah, this is pathetic. I risk my life and what do I get? Garbage. Why I ain't never been so...
Somebody needed to calm him down in the booth.
Yeah, the character is a bird. I think the character's name is Snipe. I'll be honest, the characters' names are very muddy for me, even after watching this 1,000 times. But yes, so you nailed it. He is Mandar from Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh, Dee Dee, my love.
Also, did you know that he's also a live-action actor?
Like, would I recognize his face?
You should.
What's he
was
been
in, well, 2 famous films.
Okay.
One very famous film.
Okay.
One so famous that it became a musical, and you were in it with me at one point.
Evil Dead?
You're on the right track. Actually, you're not, but just keep going back further go back to the very early days. A movie.
Grease.
Musical, yes.
Is he Eugene?
He's Eugene.
Oh my god.
This is Eugene. Edward Deason.
He like has hardly any lines in that movie too. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Then he goes on to do, I think Mandark is probably his greatest contribution to society.
Tremendous. all 3 voice actors.
So good.
The main 3 in Dexter's Lab, just fantastic.
Wonderful show. You did hit on somebody else while we were sitting there listening, and I didn't pick up on this, so I didn't even look this person up until after you said it.
Oh yeah.
The gal
Audrey.
pheasant, her name is Goldie in this. Who did you think she was?
I thought she was the original Audrey.
Yes, Ellen Green.
Yeah, Ellen Green, who's also in the movie.
Love has set
are correct.
Yep. And
Little Shop of Horrors
starred in not the revival. It was just a limited run in DC with a crazy buff Jake Gyllenhaal as Seymour.
It's so weird.
Does not work. Jake has a wonderful voice. Is a great musical theater actor, surprisingly, but not for Seymour.
It's just not
he sang
his
it fine,
character.
but he was hulking out at the time. I was like, oh my god.
They couldn't have given him a bigger shirt.
I don't know.
So he
yeah,
didn't have to
he
see his
needed almost
muscles?
look a little chubby.
Like a big baggy shirt or
yeah,
something.
good. Just look up pictures of it. It's
I've seen
wild.
it. It's
no,
crazy.
this isn't for you. This is for the listeners.
Oh.
I know.
No,
I
not
know
you.
you've seen pictures of buff Jake Gyllenhaal playing Seymour, which Rach was probably like,
Oh, wow.
hello.
Oh, wow.
This is the guy of my dreams. This little nerd bo doesn't realize all he does is sit around lifting weights and waiting for me to make out with him.
I don't know about all that. Ty, give us your best Audrey impression.
Yes. Seymour, you have to do something going on here.
This is terrible. I
That
can't.
was awful. That was awful. Like, I'm embarrassed for you a little bit, and I'm never embarrassed for you.
Seymour, what is happening here? Oh, what is happening over here?
No, it's less like, oh, Seymour. It's more like she's got this weird.
Weird little weak thing she likes to do.
She has a
though, too.
lisp. She has a lisp for starters, so that helps.
Yeah.
Seymour.
Oh, Seymour, so let's go out here.
I feel like I'm doing baby talk.
Oh my gosh.
Play a clip. Let's see how close I got.
Oh my gosh.
Play a clip.
Wild. I'm gonna keep doing some of these smaller roles first before I get to the big leagues. Phil Harris played the voice of the dog. The dog's name is
Okay.
Patu.
Yeah.
Didn't know that until this rewatch. Phil Harris is also, he's got a very famous voice. Did you recognize his voice at all from like some Disney films?
Like maybe a little bit, but I couldn't place it.
He is, listeners, you would know him from Jungle Book.
Okay. Oh, he's Baloo.
He's Baloo.
Oh.
Also the bear in
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
Yep. That's the one that I
Little
was
John?
like, it might be Little John, but I wasn't 100%. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, his
Okay.
voice is very distinct.
But Baloo makes tons of sense now. I'm like, oh, shit.
you
that's
can hear
right.
it when you
Yeah.
think. The Grand Duke. The Grand Duke is somebody famous.
Okay. I liked the Grand Duke.
Yeah, as the owl.
Let's just take a second and appreciate the Grand Duke. He looks like Dracula with
Yeah.
a monocle, and he is this big, fat, tall owl. And the voice actor does a great job, and I love the animation. Every time the Grand Duke with his little owl buddies are singing songs, and when they're at his big castle, favorite parts of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I was like, I love the evil owl stuff.
Twiddly-dee, they're running out of batteries. No batteries. So good.
It is. Yep. And then when he's playing the organ and stuff, I love that scene.
Yeah.
That scene was great.
Oh, so scary.
But you see, we creatures of the night have worked very hard to make absolutely sure that that bird does not return. And you, with no regard for the feelings of others, have the nerve to call him back here by name. And besides, I positively loathe rock and roll.
The Duke. Any guesses before I tell you?
Mm-mm.
Christopher Plummer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Christopher Lee. Would have been a really cool choice
Nope.
because he played Dracula.
Oh, okay.
And played Sauron.
Thank you for
played,
clarifying.
Yeah, Count Dooku in
He
Star Wars.
would be a good owl voice.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd do a great
He'd
job.
be a great owl voice.
But this is Christopher Plummer?
Christopher Plummer.
Interesting. I would have never placed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheerio.
Mhm.
He's so good.
He does do really good.
He's wonderful as this. Can you talk more about the owl character though, and why
Yeah.
it's so crazy? Like, this isn't just an owl. Like, I think we miss the fact that this is like a magical owl
Yep.
who can breathe on people and change them into things.
Yeah, he can change their shapes.
And he can change his own shape. He can get really big
Uh-huh.
and huge, and
Yep.
then at the end, he turns into a freaking tornado.
Yeah, he does.
That's how that's his
he
big
does.
boss
and
move.
and Rach goes when that happened. She goes, whoo, whoo. She let out this weird cackle, and I thought I missed something. I was like, "What the hell noises are coming on behind me?"
I was just laughing at amazement, like,
Like,
oh my gosh, this movie is so bonkers. Why is he a tornado?
Yeah, he turned into a tornado.
He
It
turned
was
into
crazy.
a tornado, Ty.
Yep.
We don't have any questions about that. We
No.
feel good. We can follow along.
He's a magic owl.
Yeah, I guess.
He's an evil sorcerer owl.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm in.
I'm in.
Favorite character of the whole thing?
He's really good. When he's on stage, it sizzles.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, our last and our main character, Chanticleer, the rooster,
Yep.
played by Glenn Campbell.
Oh, I know that name.
Mhm.
Glenn Campbell.
Glenn Campbell is a singer, but also an actor. He was in True Grit.
Okay. The original?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The OG.
With John Wayne?
Yes. Yep. Good buds with him. He also had a show called The Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour.
Okay. Everybody had a show back then, though.
Isn't that
means
a fun
nothing
name
to me.
for a show, The Good Time Hour?
Yeah, the Good Time Hour is a cool name,
I
but
like
I just
that.
feel like every star from like the 50s when they got into the 60s and 70s were like, I'm going to do my own show now. Yeah, and I think he is a better singer than Elvis. You ready for that hot take?
That's a hot take.
I'm going to repeat it so it sinks in with everybody.
I would rather you not say that again in my
Glenn
presence.
Campbell is a better singer than Elvis,
He
whose voice I don't really care for.
He was actually friends with Elvis, and he would do impersonations of Elvis at his concert until his best bud died. So then he stopped doing impersonations of him.
Oh,
But
when
he-
Elvis died, you mean?
Mm-hmm, but he
Oh,
could do
okay.
a
I thought you were
really-
talking about he had another friend who died. He's like, hey, I'm done with those Elvis impersonations now that my friend Tony here died.
No.
Oh,
When
okay.
his buddy Elvis died, he sang the song. His hits were "Rhinestone Cowboy."
Oh,
Mhm.
like a rhinestone cowboy.
Yeah, your favorite.
Yeah.
Also Southern Nights. You know this one. Southern Nights. Have you ever heard those Southern Nights? You got it.
Yeah, I do. I know
I
this
think
one.
it's got famous again for Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe the second one. It had that coming out with that on the soundtrack.
Okay.
A good time. You know how those albums were always so money.
Yeah, those. Yeah, I love all the compilations that they threw on for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, those are
So
the two
good.
that I knew. But just for all the Glenn Campbell fans out there, we also have Gentle on My Mind and By the Time I Get to Phoenix. Ty, how does By the Time I Get to Phoenix go?
By the time I get to Phoenix, I'm gonna have you in my arms.
Oh, Jesus. So out of the voice actors, we loved the Duke.
The Duke.
Is that what we would say?
Christopher
That's how
Plummer.
we're gonna come away saying like the Duke was
Yes.
the only one.
No, I liked Elvis too. I
Yeah,
like
you
Glenn
like Glenn
Campbell.
Campbell?
Yeah. Guess who I didn't like?
You didn't like You didn't like Mandark, the little
Yeah,
bird.
Mandark was annoying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, written very annoying.
Mhm.
You know who I didn't like? And I
Who?
bet it's the same one that you didn't like? The little boy.
The little boy. Okay, so here's
He
what
was
I'm gonna
so hard to understand.
say. Here's what I'm gonna say. They picked an actual little boy,
Yeah.
and although he says things in like a legit cute way, you know he's not just. It's not a voice actor trying to be cute, and so you can respect that. But when you see things like, "Oh, that's there. It's over there," you're like, "Wait, what is over there?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what you just said. The kid has the worst mush mouth ever. Cannot be allowed in a studio to do voiceover work. I didn't even like him when he was live action. He was annoying all over the place. He was annoying animated. He's annoying in real life. I was like, why'd you pick this kid?
I can't help anybody. I'm too little. I'm a squatty furball runt. Mom and Dad won't even recognize me. Mom! Dad! Help! Oh, Chanticleer.
It was really hard to understand, and I knew what I was listening for, and I had trouble at times. I thought this
it was
it's
brutal.
so fast, or it's just so over the top of each other. I thought this is hard to listen to. So I couldn't imagine how you were doing.
Oh, it was brutal, man.
I can't believe you didn't have more questions for me. This is a very complicated story.
What do you mean? Questions about
As
what?
we went through it, I'm just surprised that you were able to keep up with it, because I'll be honest, it's pretty complicated stuff.
Is it?
It is. It's so complicated that they had to add in the narration of the dog character narrating it, because test screen audiences were like, I don't know what's happening. I don't understand this story.
What's so confusing? Okay, let me just. I'm gonna say the synopsis of one more time.
All right.
All right. Boy, real life boy, his family. We didn't get into this. It's like a rainstorm, and things are like their house is gonna get flooded. They're gonna have to leave, and gets sucked into a magical cartoon world, which we've seen in about like 30 other movies throughout our childhood. Like it was a hot topic in the 80s and 90s.
I have a complex about it, actually.
He gets sucked into cartoon world, and then in cartoon world, the sun doesn't rise on this farm anymore because their rooster Elvis is in the city making money, and they got to go get him. It's really not that complicated. The most complicated part is he gets sucked into cartoon world. But like I said, that's been modeled for us. We know that this is possible.
Yeah, we have to go on the quest. We solve the quest, and then we can turn back into our human selves. But not until the quest is done.
Not until the quest is done. Never-ending story. The quest has to be done.
He has to say my name.
What's that kid's name? Bastion. Bastion. You have to say my name. You let my horse die. We've been quoting Never-Ending Story the last week.
It's been wild.
It's been fun.
So some fun trivia pieces for you, and then we're going to talk about scenes, and then that's all I got for you.
Oh, wow.
We talked about Don Bluth for a good chunk of time, so I feel good. I'm not leaving the listeners hanging here.
No, definitely not. No.
But this didn't have a lot, as you can imagine.
That's fine.
It's okay.
It's a shorty but a goodie.
So for the backup vocals for the singers, they used the Jordanaires, who were Elvis's actual backup singers.
Oh, okay. I like those guys. They sounded really good.
They did. They
You know
were
what?
in mouse form. They were in duck form.
Oh yeah, they did. They changed.
They changed
like
shapeshifters.
creatures. Yeah. Well, this is a magical world, so that makes sense to me.
Sure.
And those guys all sound better than Elvis as well.
Better than Glenn Campbell as Elvis?
Nah, Glenn Campbell's pretty good though. That opening song that he sings that I butchered
Rock-A-Doodle?
is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's
That's a
song.
good number.
I'll play it for you later. Don't worry. After screen testing with moms, what do you think was some feedback that they also had to take into account before they released this?
Oh yeah, I can tell you what this is.
Yeah.
Because there are a bunch of chickens early in the movie with the rooster. Elvis has what's his name?
Chanticleer.
I was gonna call him Chanticleer. Chanticleer has these big, huge pectorals, right? Well, guess what? The women who pine after him, these chicken gals, have the biggest boobs and the most cleavage you've ever seen in your life from an animated character. Then he goes and he meets old Audrey in the city.
Yep.
You know, he's going to hook up with Goldie. And you think Goldie is just like this, like skinny, you know, she's got her hair covered on one side. She kind of looks like an emo, like anime character.
Does she remind you of another character who was drawn recently around this time?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because she might. One eye.
Oh,
big-chested.
the dog in All Dogs Go to Heaven has the love interest has only one eye.
Oh, that could
covered.
be.
Who's
This
like
is
a
bit more,
music star,
This is a famous cartoon.
like Jessica Rabbit.
Yes.
Oh, so
ding, ding, ding.
yeah, and then get this. So you think she looks normal or whatever, and then she gets into her outfit where she's trying to seduce him, and you're like, oh, she's also very chesty, and she is wearing like the Jessica Rabbit kind of outfit, pretty much. Now that I think about it.
Yes. So she was initially drawn. You probably didn't catch this. You probably just put it in your head. She was initially drawn with a lot of cleavage, like Jessica Rabbit, but
They just took the cleavage out.
they painted over it after they got
But
the
you
feedback
still
from
can
the
tell
moms.
she's super chesty though.
Yeah, she can be super chesty. It's the cleavage that's the scandalous part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't take it out of the mama chicks who are back at home on the farm.
They didn't take it out of them.
They
That's
still
right.
had it.
They saved a little bit of cleavage for those gals.
Yeah. It was crazy.
It is crazy. Cleavage in cartoons is so funny.
Yeah, it's
so
just a
weird.
little weird.
It is a little weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Makes you feel weird.
Also, stirrings. Did you have your first stirrings?
Not to this movie.
What's your first cartoon that you had stirrings to?
Little Mermaid.
Okay.
I was 4.
That's
And
really little.
I know, and I was like, I think I love Ariel.
I think I'm in love.
And then Jasmine came out. I was like, nope.
That was just puppy love.
Ariel walked so Jasmine could run.
Well done. Well done. During the live action scenes, the filming, they actually had another guy who was set to direct those because Don Bluth just does the animation directing. He doesn't do the live action. But sadly, this gentleman came down with a diagnosis of cancer around this time, so he had to leave production.
Oh, okay.
Leaving Don Bluth to do this himself.
Yeah.
He was very, very nervous about this because if you remember the beginning scene,
there's a lot of stuff happening.
There's a lot of things happening. Like we've got this tree that's like crashing into the house, and like we're pulling the kid away at the last minute so he doesn't get attacked by this tree that falls in.
Yeah, it looks like a hand almost.
Yeah, it looks like a claw.
Yep.
So that was interesting. He was really nervous about that, but it had this like spring-loaded contraption underneath the kid to pull him away, and they were going to do this in one take because this is a very expensive shot to do.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that when they get ready to do it, the contraption doesn't work, but they still get the shot and they still get him away safely. They just pull him out safely just in time, and they get out in one. But he like had like near panic attack after that. He said,
Bluth did?
Bluth
or the
did.
kid?
Bluth
Okay.
did. No, I think the kid was fine. Who cares?
Yeah.
He's fine. He's having a great
Kids
time.
are expendable, especially this one.
We'll just get another one. Also, Bluth grew up on a farm himself, so he's very familiar with farm life, farm animals. During the flooding scene, the family is trying to get all of the livestock out of the barn in a way. They spend a good amount of time with the cow in particular. They've got a rope around the cow's neck trying to get the cow out of the mud. Feels very reminiscent of Neverending Story. I don't know if you have flashbacks.
Oh, yeah, with the horse, with Artex.
But he was the one who noticed something about this cow while they were filming. Any guesses on what he might have noticed about this cow being a farm boy?
The cow is pregnant?
The cow was pregnant. So he goes to the Grip. He says, "What's your name, Grip?" And he says, "My name's Clifford. I'm the Grip." "All right, Clifford the Grip, we're going to name this baby cow after you because she's going to have this cow
Wow.
soon."
He named it after his grip, huh?
Yeah, according to the random trivia that I found.
Clifford's a good name for a baby cow.
I think that's a sweet name and a sweet story.
And then how long did it until the cow got slaughtered? Clifford the cow.
Commercial break.
Met the butcher.
Also interesting about the live action stuff, it was not filmed in the U.S.
Okay.
It was filmed in Dublin, Ireland, because that is where Bluth's company ended up going kind of in the mid-'80s to help cut costs and to keep salaries high for the animators. They got to a point where they had to keep freezing the salaries when they were in the U.S., and instead of continuing to do that, they said, hey, all who want to, we're going to move the production company to Ireland where we can turn a profit a little bit easier with this. We'll make a studio out there. And so all the live action stuff was actually filmed out in Dublin, which is also why the release date is different because it was released in the UK first in November of 91.
And then it got a U.S. release in 92?
And then the U.S. released it in 92 in April, but this was pushed back because it didn't want to compete with a movie of the same time around 92.
Aladdin.
A little earlier.
Oh.
One earlier.
Oh, we're one earlier? Beauty and the Beast?
Yes.
I always
Wait, or later. I'm sorry. It's Beauty and the Beast is the right answer. I don't remember what order those are.
No, I think you're right. I always think that Aladdin came out before Beauty and the Beast, but didn't Beauty and the Beast come out first?
Nah, those
Disney,
two are interchangeable for me. I watch them all the time as well.
Movies, order. I'm on it, babe.
I feel like
We'll report in, boss.
Very good. Very good. Other pieces.
Ooh, they call it. No, Pretty Woman is not a Disney movie. What are we talking about? This of all Disney Studios?
I have Disney Renaissance pulled up on my phone. Shall I just look that up for you?
Yeah, can you look it up?
All right. Oh, it goes Beauty and the Beast and then Aladdin and then Lion King.
So Little Mermaid, then
Little
Beauty
Mermaid,
and the Beast.
Little Mermaid, Rescuers Down Under,
yep.
Beauty and the Beast,
Aladdin,
Lion King.
Boom.
Pocahontas.
Oh, Pocahontas, really good.
Pocahontas is in this as well. Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yep.
Hercules, Mulan, and
Mulan's
Tarzan.
good too.
Those are the 10 movies that are considered to be in the Renaissance.
I understand why the Renaissance is the way it is. Even though like Tarzan to me is just whatever,
Sure.
Hunchback is whatever, but the other ones, I mean, Mulan and Pocahontas are both really good as well. They belong in the Renaissance.
What a time for us to come of age to watch films. Do you think we're in the heyday?
I always say this. Everybody's so mad right now about the state of the world because they all wish that it was like it was in the 90s. 90s kids had it the best. What did we do every Saturday morning?
Saturday morning cartoons.
We watched cartoons from 8 to noon. Parents, for 4 hours, you didn't have to even worry about us. We knew where the cereal was. If we had Pop-Tarts, because Pop-Tarts were all the rage back then, you'd throw a Pop-Tart in. And you'd watch cartoons all morning long. You literally could do whatever you wanted. Snuggle in bed. making some love. No big deal. We weren't going to come bother you.
Yeah.
We were busy.
We were busy.
Yeah. You don't bother us.
You leave me alone.
So, yeah, I mean, we lived the dream, man. Like, we truly had the best childhood of our lives. There were no phones, no iPads. That sounds like an old crotchety man now. There were no phones back then. But there weren't.
There were phones, but we weren't using them.
Yeah, we did. There were landlines to be like, hey, I'll be over at your house in 2 minutes. Then we'll ride our bikes all day long. Like, it was the easiest thing in the world. See you at lunch, Bob.
It was a great time to be alive.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the Disney Renaissance. Who
Right in the middle
knew?
of the
I didn't
Disney
even know.
Renaissance.
Apparently.
Yeah. And we still had fun toys, too.
Oh, yeah.
We had Pogs. We had Marvel trading
Wait,
cards.
hold on.
We had TMNT toys,
You said we had
Power
fun
Rangers.
toys, and you're going to start with Pogs?
Polly
You're going to start with a Pog?
Polly
That's
Pocket,
the fun. There
Mighty
you
Max.
go. Don't start with Pogs.
Dragon Ball Z guys, wrestling guys. We had all the good
These little
stuff.
flat pieces of cardboard.
It was 4th grade, and it was the time to be alive. And if you had a slammer to trade me right now, we could have that conversation on air.
Pogs.
Did you or did you not have Pogs?
Yeah, I had some Pogs.
Boom. The defense rests, Your
But it's
Honor.
not what I would have gone to first.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench?
You may not. Overruled.
Did you also have Pogs, Your Honor? Just curious if you have any slammers you want to trade.
So, Bluth being, the pusher of envelopes, obviously, as we've discussed, there was a few other things that they had to do to avoid a PG rating.
Okay.
One of
To
them,
avoid, they want a G?
they wanted a G rating. This got a
Yeah.
G rating,
Okay.
for better or for worse.
Yeah, I think it deserves a G rating.
Does it deserve a G
Yeah,
rating?
even with all the cleavage, it's
It's
whatever.
not just cleavage, though. There's a lot of other things. Like, think about, so there's a scene where Chanticleer is being fed a lot of drinks.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So
he
those
is. She's
drinks,
liquoring him up.
well, so you and I see that as that's got to be booze, right? They
No.
said that they changed that from wine to soda. I'd say it didn't say
It
soda
didn't look
on
like
the
soda
bottle.
at all. And in
Mm-mm.
fact, if it was fizzy, I usually thought it was beer.
Beer or champagne or something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
as
or
a
champagne.
kid,
Champagne's probably better.
we grew up seeing like drinks with bubbles in them,
Uh-huh.
drawn wise. Like that's alcohol,
But
right?
with Disney films, though, I don't think alcohol is that big of a deal. Like you'll have
Yeah,
guys
that's true.
who will drink the bottles with the skull and crossbone on it or whatever, and then they'll
Uh-huh.
hiccup. They'll be, "Oh!" And you're like, oh, they're wasted right now. So like we grew up knowing.
Wait, why are they drinking poison? I'm so confused.
Well, it's just like this is poison. Kids don't drink this. Look, it makes you an idiot and you hiccup all the time, and nobody respects you.
Uh-huh.
That's the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
took that lesson. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it.
There was something about the Duke, the main baddie owl,
Uh-huh.
that they changed to try to make it a little less scary. They added something.
The monocle.
Oh, I love that idea.
Oh.
No, that's not. Monocles actually make you scarier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if you picture it. Am I not a
Rach
little
is
bit?
doing it
Am
right
I
now.
not a little bit scarier
Rach
with the
is
monocle
doing the
on?
OK symbol with her right by her eyeball,
Yeah,
and
it's
she
like
looks.
You don't know which eye to look at.
She looks pretty scary.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm zooming in. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
No, it's his breath. The breath that he with
Uh-huh.
his magic breath. It was just kind of smoke before, and they thought that maybe is a little bit scary. So they ended up. I don't know if you caught this, but in his breath, they added little animations like stars and moons
Oh
and little
yeah.
colorful shapes.
It looks like
like-
Lucky Charms is flying at somebody. That's right.
It does look like Lucky Charms. He's got Lucky Charms breath.
He's got Lucky
instead.
Charms breath.
It's not so scary,
That's
kids.
that sounds great.
It's Lucky Charms breath. You
Yeah.
probably have it too.
Yeah, he's just Lucky Charms. He's baby birding you with Lucky Charms. He already fed it to you. That's nice.
And the last scene, this is a deleted scene, and I was watching it to see if I could see clips of this, and
Mhm.
I could. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you it.
Okay.
So the Duke is in the kitchen, and he's making a pie.
Okay.
Okay? Do
Yeah,
you remember that part?
I do. And then the little
Okay.
bird comes in and he ruins his pie.
And he ruins the pie, right?
Yep.
So in that pie,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't see this, but prior to that, they deleted the scene where the Duke goes to a cage and takes a baby skunk and puts the baby skunk alive into the pie
Uh-huh.
and then proceeds to put the pie into the oven.
Yeah.
He's then thwarted by his nephew who comes in and
Oh,
messes
so
up,
he-
and so the skunk gets away.
Oh, okay.
But that's pretty,
Yeah.
traumatizing. What do you mean, yeah?
Well, it's just like
That's traumatizing.
the fact that the skunk doesn't get killed and it gets away.
I mean, we think.
I
I'm pretty
think-
sure.
I think that would have been fine as well.
You think putting a live baby skunk in a pie is
I
okay
do.
for rated G, not
Think-
PG?
Think
rated
about
G?
what's Sword in the Stone.
I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Is it G?
I'm not an expert.
If
on
Sword
all
in the
Bs
Stone
and
is G,
PGs.
this should be G as well.
It's true. This is a 90s
Think about the
PG.
witch. The witch is like going to like do
Yeah.
nasty stuff to the kids all the time,
Yeah.
and like she's making herself into all those different characters who's gonna try to eat
You're right.
the little squirrel boy and stuff. So I think it's fine as long as the thing gets away.
Mm-hmm.
If it didn't get away, then that's a different story.
Then we have to have a conversation about
That's a parent.
the birds and
Parent
the bees.
needs to be there.
And that's why the P comes in.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I don't know. I think they got lucky. This is a 90s G for sure. This would never fly it with even as it currently is. It shouldn't be a G movie as is. There's so
Yeah.
much violence in this. It's constant. There's knives. There's all kinds of like weapons that they use against each other. There's
Kids
a lot
are
of hitting.
resilient, man.
Kids are sponges, man. Is what it should be. Before we get into
When we were 90s kids,
yeah,
if you waited long enough, it's like 10:30 now when your parents are up and they're kind of moving around.
mm-hmm.
That's when Goosebumps came on.
Oh,
So like think about it. We
they
watched
probably did plan it that
as
way.
kids, we watched Goosebumps
Mhm.
on Saturdays,
Yeah.
and we watched Are You Afraid of the Dark after school every day.
I did not watch that every day. That was too scary for me. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't
'cause you
handle
couldn't
it.
handle
I
it.
had nightmares.
So you needed to know that about yourself.
Yeah, I did. I knew
Nobody's
that.
gonna babysit you, Rach.
That's wrong. I did have a babysitter for most of the 90s. I'll
Yeah,
have
well,
you
that
know.
was mistake number 1.
Before we get into money talk and a little
Oh,
bit
I'm
of
sure this movie killed it.
Elvis talk, do you have any scenes that you want to touch on that I haven't already got into? Any like WTF moments?
Yeah, like the freaking toads that are jumping around all the time. We bounce, we bounce, we bounce, we bounce.
Yeah, there's
so they're
bouncers. The bouncers at the
that
club
bounce.
are toads.
Yep, because we figured that out because I thought they were also frogs because they're different colors. But we see a tiny frog in another scene. It's like, oh, that's a frog. These are toads.
Okay,
Mutant toads.
sure.
And yeah, I think they were just weird. They were a weird bad guy to have.
I think in
I didn't really
general,
like
the
it.
scale that the animals were drawn on was confusing because you had
Yeah.
like a fox that was huge, and you had this like little pheasant,
Mhm.
and then you had like a tiny baby frog, but like giant
Toads.
fox-sized toads.
Yep.
Everything was like there wasn't the consistency between the animals. I was confused by.
Me too. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like the baby kitten, he
Uh-huh.
should be bigger than he was
Did
so
you-
tiny.
Didn't you think that
against the
kitten was
owl.
ugly? Wasn't that the ugliest kitten you've ever seen in your life?
I mean, is as ugly as any dog, and all dogs go to heaven. Those
Okay.
are all ugly dogs.
Now imagine that kitten shows up in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
You know how we always talk about like I'd take in a kitten if it wandered into our yard?
Yeah.
Well, would you take in that kitten? The ugliest sin
I mean,
kitten.
you have to ask yourself because I don't want it regardless.
So I'm taking it into the vet and I'm be like, hey, I found this kitten and wandered in my yard.
You're not
It's
keeping that one.
ugly. This one's coming back
This
to you.
is not
Find
happening.
it a home. Somebody's gonna want this ugly kitten, but that person's not me. It was so gross. Why did they make him cuter?
I don't know.
It's easy. You just make the animation a little bit cuter. I've seen cute kittens in other cartoons.
His face doesn't look that different from like Feifel. If you think about just the face.
No, Fiefel's cute.
Feifel's got big, cute, round ears. Take just the face into it. You don't need to look into it. This is just for you. This is homework for you for later. Let's switch gears. Unless there's any other scenes that you want to talk about other than the ugly cat.
Oh my gosh, I just pulled up a picture of him. The only thing that makes him cute is that they put a cute little Davy Crockett thing on him. Otherwise, he is ugly as sin. He's got clown hair. He looks like Mr. Bozo. All right, what was your question?
Any other scenes or things that you want to talk about before we move on?
Seriously, look at this picture.
Ty.
Look at that picture. Does he not look like a clown?
Yeah, he's
Looks
just
like a
got
scary.
silly little
He
tufts
looks
on the
like
side.
he looks like Pennywise.
I don't know about
from
that.
It.
That's pretty strong.
He does. It's horrifying. Any other scenes? I mean, I like that. So Goldie's sent to seduce the rooster, and then she falls in love though.
Yeah, why is she sent to seduce the rooster?
Because they don't want. They want to make sure that the farm animals aren't able to like get the letter into his hands that says like we're sorry, we were dicks, and you should come back to the
he's
farm.
lonely and they don't want him to
And
go
he-
back to the farm.
Yeah, he's also missing the farm himself, and
Mhm.
so the fox is like, hey, get over there. and seduce him. And she does, and that's when she feeds him all that alcohol.
This is very adult material, right?
She feeds him all that alcohol. Material. She wears her Jessica Rabbit outfit without her cleavage, but we know it's there. And then she proceeds. They like hang on the little bird. You know the little thing that birds hang on in a bird cage?
Yeah, the little
stand,
the little swing.
They hang on that swing all night long, swinging. And you know what that means? He's laying down a lot, and she's like kind of hovered over top of him. Things get, and they like look from really afar, but you can only make out the shapes, which is a little voyeuristic. The whole scene made me feel a bit uncomfortable, but
spicy.
Also a bit intrigued. So I like that scene.
You like that scene?
I like the whole opening scene. I think that opening song and scene where he's running around dancing all over the farm and singing a song about making the sun rise, I think it's all really fun.
Sun do shine,
do shine. Do you want to sing a little bit of it?
Yeah, I was singing. My daddy taught me how to sing, and that's why this one brings everything. Sun do shine, you better shine.
You better shine. You better shine.
Sun do shine, you better shine.
Very good.
Almost got it.
Very good. I liked it.
Found the bottom.
Yeah, so that was another really fun part.
Yeah, so good. Speaking of the king, let's talk about your experience at Graceland. What did you think about Graceland when we went this last year?
So my favorite
Elvis.
So my favorite part about Graceland was going to, on the premises, there's this Christmas Village shop. And it's the coolest Christmas Village shop I've ever been to. Tons of Christmas villages. If you know what Department 56 is, it's all the rage. It's
I know you do.
And it's got Harry Potter stuff there. It's got Christmas Story stuff there. It's got Grinch Stole Christmas stuff there. It's got Snoopy Peanuts Christmas. It's got all kinds of great Christmas stuff going on in there. Nightmare Before Christmas. And
it was the world's largest Christmas village display. You know that, right?
Well,
at that time, it was the world's largest Christmas display.
It was so cool. So if you're going to go to Graceland, skip the admission cost. Just park your car. Go to that Christmas Village shop. You will not be disappointed.
I think that's a traveling expo. I don't think that's always there. I think that just happens to be at the expo. Yeah.
We got to get back there.
Is it still there?
I got to take more pictures. So I loved that. And then as far as other things in Graceland, it was fine.
Ty's not as big of an Elvis fan as I did. He just humored me and took me to Graceland, which I had a great time on. You get to go on this little tour. You've got this audio tour that you can follow along with oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it. Jesse from Full House. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah.
John Stamos
Yep.
is the narrator for it. As you're going through all the rooms, you get to see the jungle room. You get to see the basement with the pool table. It was pretty cool. I was pleased.
Oh, well, I'm glad you were pleased.
Yeah, I was pleased.
And
we probably went too slow through it.
It was for you, and you were pleased. It's like when I went to the Army Museum. I don't think you had a great time at Napoleon's Army Museum in France, but we went twice because I missed Napoleon's coffin.
You took too long that you didn't get to the grand finale.
I was too busy looking at all the armor and the guns and stuff. I was like, wow.
Yeah, we ran out of time.
Look, this room's full of sabers. This is so cool. Look at all the details on the hilts. Yeah, I was like nerding out, and then it was like the Army Museum is closing at 15. I was like, what? We can barely even get through this part of the museum. There's a whole other section we have to go to with Napoleon's coffin.
Yep, we had to pay twice.
Yep.
Some people pay twice to go to the Louvre, but we paid twice to go to the Army Museum.
And guess which one I'd go back to?
I don't want to know.
Oh, by the way, Goldie looked super hot at the end of the movie when she had overalls on.
Oh, is that a note that you
Yeah,
I
put Goldie, you got super hot with these overalls.
Yeah, she's a farm girl now.
Now, I liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now you're a fan?
Now I'm a fan.
I want to see Chanticleer 2.
Yeah.
Chanticleer, where's Chanticleer at? Oh, God, find Chanticleer.
We're like, what are you saying, little kid?
It's hard enough the name doesn't make sense, and then you add a speech impediment, and on top of it, it's all challenging, right?
Yep, miserable.
So budget for this, estimated $18 million. Opening weekend in the U.S., which was now we said April, right, of 92. It only makes $2 million.
That makes sense.
This got pushed back to avoid Beauty and the Beast and Fievel Goes West.
Oh, it was competing with itself.
Well, Don Bluth was not the director for Fievel Goes West. He was the director for American Tail.
Oh.
Spielberg moved on and had somebody else do Fievel Goes West because Bloom was busy with this. But he was very sad that he was not the director for that. He wanted to be.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was one of his babies.
Okay.
Cumulative, it makes $11 million at
So
the
it's a
box office.
flop.
It's a flop. It has greater success on home video, where it makes $28 million. So
Okay.
it does eventually make some money, but it takes a long time to get there.
Yep.
As like you said, I think most of these
It deserves
films,
it. It deserves to flop. I'll be honest with you. This movie sucks. It deserves to flop.
This movie was wild. It was wild. And
Yeah.
It was a wild rewatch.
It doesn't deserve to make money. Yeah, I want other people thinking like, oh, I just have to make a movie like Rock-A-Doodle and I can make money.
Mm-mm.
That's what you don't want the world to think.
It did get an award. 24th out of 50 worst children's films ever made.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. What's number 1 on that list?
A film called Nukie, Nukie, made in '88. Some other films that were in the top ones. Tell me if you know these. The Garbage Pail Kids movie.
No.
Mac and Me.
Mac and Me.
Mac and Me.
Mac and Me is great. If you don't have a chance to watch Mac and Me, if you do have a chance to watch Mac and Me, you should definitely take it up.
Take it up.
It's
Don't
wild.
pass that by.
No, it's one of Paul Rudd's favorite movies. You gotta check it out. It's wild. It's like literally they made a deal with McDonald's for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why he drinks Coke all the time through straws and McDonald's cups.
Okay.
And like they go to McDonald's in the movie.
Mhm.
And the aliens eat at McDonald's. Like it's literally
This isn't the only film I've seen that has a McDonald's scene in it, is it?
no, but I'm telling you, they made a deal with McDonald's. Is like one of the biggest like funders for that movie, so that movie could happen. It's pretty much a McDonald's movie.
It's McDonald's coming of age story.
It's called Mac and Me.
Oh, it is called Mac and Me.
Yeah, it's McDonald's, girl.
Wow, interesting.
If you've only seen it once, I think
Have
you should
I
watch it on
seen
summer.
it?
Yeah, you watched it early in our tenure,
I
and
can't even remember it.
you
So
and I are
bad.
gonna have to revisit it for summers off. I'll throw it on the
If
list.
I forgot that it was about McDonald's, then yeah, we
Yeah.
better see it.
It's wild.
Another one on this list: Never-Ending Story 3.
Oh, I've never seen the third one.
Well, don't, because it's bad. Apparently,
Or it doesn't even follow the books like our last podcast mentioned. So yeah, what a waste of time.
So, critics' consensus. There is no critics' consensus. This
Not enough
movie,
reviews?
not enough care in the world to give it anything.
What about the audience? Did they say anything?
Ah, yes. Well, the Rotten Tomatoes score is 20%.
Okay.
Audience score is 55%.
Wait, I thought you said there's no. Oh, because there's no consensus, but
No
there's
consensus.
still a score.
There's a score,
Oh, okay.
but nobody knows what to say about it.
So the critics were 20. What were the audience?
55.
Wow.
I know, I'm
That's
telling you.
crazy
People
high.
people liked this movie, and I was one of them.
Okay.
And musically, I'm still one of them. The music slaps. I don't care who you are. It's so catchy. 3 decades later, I'm singing it. I know it. It's good. I mean, I don't even know if a Tay-Swift song can last that long in my brain. We'll find out. Ask me in 30 years if I remember all the words to All Too Well like I do Rock-A-Doodle. I'll be very
but
interested
you
to
were
know.
a kid. Your mind was a sponge.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, babe. That's just where I am.
Yeah. Do you remember all the words to Vitamin C? The graduation
No,
song?
but I never did. Did you?
Yeah, because we sang in the choir.
Let me give you one review, and then I want to hear what you think, okay?
Okay.
Roger Ebert says, the movie has some good songs and some lively animation, but what bothered me most was that most of the interaction between characters was on the level of violence. That's what he said. I might pick up on that. I read that before I rewatched it, and I thought, you're right. This is very violent. This is like Looney Tunes
Yeah.
violence.
Sure.
And,
yeah.
and Looney Tunes energy, too, I would say. So if you're not ready for the then
Yeah.
I wouldn't put this down as a rewatch for you.
I wouldn't rewatch it no matter who you are. If you say, who is this movie for? I'd be like, not for you. I would say only for people who are like interested in the history of animation and feel like they like want to see how animation evolved and like other
Sure.
companies were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people who should be watching this. Those kind of film historians
Sure.
and animation.
Let's hear it.
You want it? That sun don't shine in this movie. And instead of watching this, maybe you should, as a quote from the movie, go with your partner and do a little kissing and a little cooing rather than watching this bad boy. 14%.
Woo!
Tied with It Takes Two and above Camp, but below Jingle All the Way. That's the company.
Yeah. That's good company.
Felt real.
That feels good.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is it's only 70 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's fast.
it's a quick Band-Aid
Should
rip,
be.
but like, yeah, it still drags even at 70 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I wouldn't watch it, but if you choose to, good on you. I hope you enjoy it.
I had this between Spice World and Never Been Kissed.
Oh, so like a 10%?
Also, really good company. That's actually a 34% for me.
Wow.
The music's so good, Ty. And
the music is good.
There's some heavy hitters as far as voice actors in this. Not the cat, but other people in this are like, those are good voice actors. So
yeah, I would agree with I would agree with that. The voice acting isn't terrible.
And I love the story of Elvis mixed with this medieval Chanticleer story. That's great, you know?
I feel like you're a Chanticleer gal now. I think you love that, just like medieval tale.
Yeah, I think so.
I want you to bring out more Renaud tales, by the way, the fox.
Yeah, I'll look up some more Aesop fables and see if I can like sprinkle them into here.
Yeah, regale me with those tales when we're like falling asleep tonight before we kiss and coo.
Ty, what do we got coming next week?
Next week, we are going to continue this mad train. We're on a mad train right now. We jumped on, okay, let's like think about this. We jumped on, what was after Pride and Prejudice? It was me. It was Time to Kill.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was film number 4?
Girl Interrupted.
Girl Interrupted. So I would say that's the crazy train.
Yeah.
Makes sense. We jumped on a crazy train. We went to a crazy train. Went to the asylum. So we've been on a crazy train now. We went to Never-Ending Story. We went to Rock-A-Doodle. And now it's time that this train becomes a crazy spaceship. Because we're going up into the air hundreds of years into the future and to the world of Fifth Element.
The whole time we've done this, because we've only had one, so I've given it to you.
I know you got those Taylor Swift headphones on your ears now. You think it's gonna mess you up?
I hope not. I hope it only improves my performance.
Well, sing your favorite T Swift song right now. What's in your head?
Were you sent by someone who wanted me dead?
Wow, you're feeling very angsty today. Your angst is off the charts.
It's the best bridge ever, besides All Too Well.
Yeah. All Too Well is by far the best bridge of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And that Smallest Man Who Ever Lived bridge is out of control.
Out of control.
It is like, I'm as emo as can get, and I'm super freaking pissed. I love it. It's so good.
It's so good.